Hey, what's up? It's Rob Balasabas. In this video, I asked some of the best creators on this platform that I follow and learn from to share what trends they are seeing coming down the pipes for 2020 on this awesome platform. Let's get into it. All right, so let's kick it off. The first tip is coming to you from my good friend, Cassandra Thompson, who not only is she an amazing LinkedIn expert, but she is also an incredible YouTuber. You can check out her link to her channel down in the description. Here's Cassandra.
Hey Rob, it's your friend Cassandra here, and my LinkedIn trend that I think will happen in 2020 is taking the relationships offline. Build those relationships on LinkedIn, but then meet more people in person. I think more people will be grabbing coffees, going to LinkedIn locals, finding ways to connect in real life.
Thank you, Cassandra. It is very, very important. And I do this all the time whenever I go travel to different conferences in different cities to try and connect with a local LinkedIn community in that particular city. So there are LinkedIn locals, and I'm going to share my screen here really quick. You can actually go to this website. It is linkedinlocal.com. The LinkedIn is missing the I in, so very careful with that spelling. linkedinlocal.com, and from here you can go through and you can actually apply to become a host. There's terms, there's resources, there's community, there's a bit of the story of how this is coming together, and they actually have a really cool community on Slack. If you are a LinkedIn local organizer, go check out this website. You can find the link to this website in the description. Let's get into the next tip with my good buddy Joe.
Hey Rob, it's your friend Joe Apfelbaum here, and I'm so excited that you messaged me for this in 2020. If you really want to be successful, you have to set smart goals. Most people don't have specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound goals that they actually write down. And the people that do get 10, 20, 30 times more results than the people that don't. So if you're going to do one thing for 2020 is set goals, make sure they're smart, write them down, share them, and then go execute. Boom!
Well said, Joe. It's really important to be very intentional with the time that you spend on LinkedIn. You can lose hours of your day on LinkedIn, browsing through, connecting, messaging, accepting requests, sending requests, creating content. So what Joe is sharing with you with setting goals helps you become intentional. Being really intentional with the content that you're creating, the actions that you're doing, and the strategies that you're putting into place on LinkedIn so that you are as productive and effective as possible in 2020 using this platform. So thank you, Joe. Let's get on with Matt's tip.
It's your pal, Matt Crump. I think that authentic clarity will be key in 2020. After all, when it comes to communication, and since hindsight is always 2020, why not shoot for perfect vision at and in 2020? Video is the new text, except now they can hear tone, feel inflections, and hopefully you'll make a point to the question, their question.
Awesome. Thank you, Matt. I use videos all the time. I create videos obviously as content, but I also use videos behind the scenes in the LinkedIn app. When you are sending direct messages, there is actually an option to shoot a really quick video in app, so you don't need to record it outside of the app and then upload it. You can record it directly from the LinkedIn app. You can also use audio messages, which is fantastic. So use that, use videos in your messaging, not just in the content that you create, but also use it to add a personal touch to your messages by using videos. All right, here's the next tip from my good friend, Dan, who not only shares what's going to work in 2020 on LinkedIn, but also what's not going to work. So check this out.
Hey Rob, it's Dan Holloway here, your friend from London in the UK. I think the biggest trend of 2020, especially on LinkedIn, is actually that the platform's going to be going through an evolution over the course of the year. There's live video being introduced, which is showing very clearly a higher emphasis on engagement with your audience. The likes of third-party tools, LinkedIn pods, and so on that had been used previously by certain people to create an artificial amount of engagement within their network, that is going away very quickly. And I do believe that an engaged audience and real authentic engagement with your audience is definitely going to be number one on the list for 2020.
Thanks, Dan. That's a really fantastic tip. And I think it's something that a lot of people need to hear is that you really don't want to take shortcuts. I think there's a saying that shortcuts take way too long. So don't take shortcuts when it comes to engagement. Engagement is really easy, relatively, on LinkedIn versus other social media platforms out there. As long as your content is of value, it's either entertaining, inspiring, or educational, then you're going to have no problems when it comes to engagement. There are some things that you can do strategically with your posts, but in general, you don't want to game the system on LinkedIn. The system is already in your favor to work organically by creating really good content. So thank you, Dan. Me and Dan got to hang out in London, in Shoreditch, actually, at a meetup not too long ago, earlier this year. So thank you for that tip. Hope you're doing well, my friend. And here is our next tip with another man from London. Andrew, let's go.
Hello, Rob. It's Andrew, your friend from the UK. My view on trends in 2020, probably towards the back end of 2020, is that we're going to see a bigger shift away from Facebook communities to either using online platforms and working within that ecosystem. But I also think we'll see a movement away from online platforms to companies having their own apps, whether it's speakers, coaches, authors, having their own apps, where it's much more accessible, better user experience. We're going to start to see that shift as apps become easier to build, whether that's internally or using off-the-shelf versions. I think that's going to be the trend towards the back end of 2020.
That's really good insight, Andrew. Thank you so much. There is a bit of a shift that I'm seeing with brands and solopreneurs, entrepreneurs out there that are building communities on their own platform, whether it's an app that they're white labeling. Connect with Andrew. He is fantastic. He travels the world doing live workshops for some of the biggest companies out there. So make sure you connect with him on LinkedIn. Make sure you connect with all of my guests on LinkedIn. You're going to find all of their links in the description down below. Andrew, thank you so much for that tip. Now let's get into Gary's tip right here.
It's your friend Gary Stockton. Thanks for having me on. So 2020, I think we're going to see a few things happen. LinkedIn Live is probably going to come out of beta. I hope that the product is greatly improved. I think we see plenty of third-party tools making it happen, but I think at some point LinkedIn has to kick in with some technology. Video dominates the feed. I think we're going to see more ways to create video content in the feed, more forms of video emerging, maybe even a stories feature on the mobile app. I'm hearing some rumor of that may be happening. Archiving video content. I think at some point LinkedIn should address that and find a way for users to archive live video on a company page or even a personal profile. And then I'm secretly hoping that Skype and LinkedIn team up to offer an integration. I think the two companies really have some good synergy, plus they're both owned by Microsoft. It makes a lot of sense for them to improve the live experience. So those are my predictions. I hope some of them come true.
I don't know what to say. I mean, Gary sent me his video and he stepped it up with that ESPN style bullet points on the side. So Gary, thank you so much. I have the same wishes as Gary. So I think a lot of these things, if not all of the points that he shared, will happen in 2020. But I definitely see LinkedIn digging more into video content, whether that's making it easier for creators to create videos, archiving those videos after it's been shared so that the shelf life of those video content pieces can be extended. So hopefully some of those things happen. Thank you, Gary. Now let's hear from Brayden, who is a good friend of mine as well, who works with a little known startup company called Hootsuite, where he is actually part of the team that creates the live content for the LinkedIn Lives that happen on the Hootsuite channel. So Brayden, take the mic.
It's Brayden here. Thanks for including me in this awesome roundup. I must say that I think 2020 will be a huge year for LinkedIn and social marketers. My hot tip for all of you is to use a network as a way to build your personal branding community. Start creating, curating, and sharing content that you're passionate about and make connections with other people in your network because you care.
Thank you, Brayden. It is really important to look at LinkedIn as a way to not only build your corporate brand, the brand for your company and your business, but also your personal brand. Very powerful tool for doing that. So thank you, Brayden. Next up, a man that needs no introduction. A lot of you know him already, Paddy McGill. Paddy, take it.
McGill here. Hope you're doing well. So my number one tip is LinkedIn video. If you haven't got on LinkedIn video yet, this is your time to do it. I wasn't on LinkedIn video 6 months ago, and now I'm a LinkedIn live streamer, and it's super easy to get started. Just pick up your phone like this and just start sharing your knowledge, start delivering value, and start helping people in your community. And that really comes on to, like, I guess my trend number 2 for 2020, which is going to be communities. Long dead are the days of groups, but now it's time to start building communities with people that are following, engaging, and communicating with you on LinkedIn. So start building communities around those people that are becoming your biggest fans, and you'll see massive success in 2020.
Awesome. Well said, Paddy. Definitely videos in 2020 on LinkedIn, and also communities. Communities is huge. Engage with the people that are engaging back with your content, whether that's going to be on a Facebook group or Slack or a LinkedIn group. Build a community. So round up your biggest fans to connect with you. For me, I've created a lot of little micro communities. So when I go to a conference, for example, I try to connect with everybody that I meet at the conference, and then I create a group chat, for example, on LinkedIn. From that group chat is still around. There's conferences that I attended last year, a couple years ago, where I met people there. I created a chat group because we wanted to connect in the breaks and see where we wanted to go for lunch and stuff like that. And those little chat groups, those little micro communities are still around today. I still get to engage with them, see what they're working on. I share what I'm working on. We support each other in different ways. We partner up on different activities and initiatives and campaigns. So very important to create community. You can also go full blown and build Facebook groups and Slack communities and all those sorts of communities as well. The main thing though is always have a theme or a goal to the community that you are building. So whether this community that you're building are potential partners, maybe another community that you're building are for customers or prospective customers, maybe then you build another community for your paying customers. Make sure that you have an intentional goal for the different communities that you're building so that you can serve them all properly. So next tip is going to be coming from my man, Zack, who has been on quite an adventure this year. So here's his tip for you. Make sure you connect with him as well. And also check out his YouTube channel. He's documented his journey this past year, and it is quite an interesting one. So Zack, take it away.
Zack Scriven, LinkedIn influencer here. So my tip for you guys is you want to be telling an overarching story, not just in each video do a story, but tell an overarching story. So for me, a year ago, I quit my job to be a full-time content creator here on LinkedIn. And just today, actually, I moved to Arizona to become a real estate agent. And it's because of my connections on LinkedIn that I was able to make that transition. And I'm telling this story, and people are getting behind that and supporting me in it. So that's my tip to you guys is tell a story, tell us where you want to go, and use LinkedIn to help get you there. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thank you, Zack. Make sure that you are taking your audience along with you on your journey. Next tip is coming from my main man, Brian Schulman out of San Diego. Now, this man probably, unless I miss somebody here, has been on LinkedIn the most in the last 16 years. He's been on LinkedIn every single day, posting something each day for the last 16 years. So he knows what he's talking about. He's seen everything under the sun that you can do and that can happen on LinkedIn. So Brian, take it away.
Hey Rob, it's your buddy Brian Schulman, and this is LinkedIn Video. My tip for you for 2020 and the brand new decade ahead is voice your vibe. There are 655 million people on LinkedIn, 250 million that are quote unquote active, 1% creating content, especially on video. Voice your vibe. You have a voice in a story that matters. A voice in a story that can positively affect and impact another human being's life. Don't discount your story. It's all about relatability and connecting. Just start.
Thank you, Brian. The next tip is coming from my good friend Violet out of Colorado. So listen to her. She is going to set some real expectations for everyone out there that's just starting to create and build their profiles on LinkedIn. Violet, your turn.
Hey friends. Okay, my LinkedIn tip is just know that the journey is going to change. The most important part is to get started. At first it'll be super exciting, and then, you will hit that point where you're like, is what I'm doing working? And I just want you to know that that's really part of the process. And you're going to feel like sometimes like it's not working, but just stick with it. Some days you're not even going to want to post anyway. Just stick with it, commit to it, and give it at least 6 months before you really decide. But no, it's not always rosy and amazing and wonderful. Sometimes it really is work, and you're growing and you're stretching. So that's part of the journey. And that's the one piece of advice that I would give. But just get started. Just go, dive in.
That's really important for everyone to hear. Like I said, this is the real truth of creating content on LinkedIn. You want to make sure that you are consistent. There's going to be some days where your content does better than others, but make sure you're consistent. That is really the key to succeeding on this platform. Keep creating content, keep engaging, stay with your strategy that you have created for yourself. Stay with it for 6 months to a year. Really invest in it, and the returns will come. You will learn along the way, and that's almost a guarantee that as you do more of something, you're going to learn, you're going to get better, you're going to be more efficient, you're going to find better ways to do certain things. Keep at it, be consistent when you're creating on LinkedIn. The next tip is coming from my good friend Jaime Cohen. So me and Jaime actually shared the stage at VidCon earlier this year with our good friend Winnie Sun and Roger Wakefield. We talked about LinkedIn Live on a panel at VidCon in Los Angeles, and was fantastic. So Jaime knows her stuff when it comes to LinkedIn. She's also been asked by LinkedIn to create a course on LinkedIn learning. So she definitely knows this platform inside and out. So Jaime, your turn.
Hey everyone, this is Jaime Cohen of The Right Words. I help you level up your communication skills so you can connect more deeply during any interaction. And my tip for you is going to help you stay more connected with your LinkedIn community. This coming year, there will be more people active than ever on the platform, and it might be a little bit more difficult to stay connected with your community. You might not see their posts in your feed. So the way that you can make sure that you see their content is to create a spreadsheet with links to their individual feeds. That way you never miss a post. And if you don't have a community built up yet, try putting hashtags into the search bar of different topics that you're interested in, and you will find people whose content resonates with you in those categories.
Thank you, Jaime. That's a really good tip. Next tip is coming from my good friend, Renee Teeley. Renee is awesome. She knows videos inside and out. She's created a lot of video content, tutorials, interviews for lots of awesome brands out there that I use and follow. So learn from her. Here's one tip that she's going to share with you. Then go connect with her on LinkedIn. Renee?
Hey everyone, Renee Teeley, founder of Video Explained here. And my advice for people looking to create content on LinkedIn in 2020 is to look for opportunities to infuse a little bit of your personality in your content. So I know it's a little cliche to say be yourself, and that's especially hard to do in video, but if someone is watching your video, they're watching because of you. So just look for ways to infuse a little bit of your personality. So for example, I have a new series launching soon called Video Explained, and as part of my logo, I have a little character that's a robot. It has nothing to do with video and everything to do with me. I have a robot collection in real life. So it's just a way to include a little bit of my nerdy personality even as part of my branding. So just look for some ways to include a little bit of you in everything that you do.
You'll see me just because I love coffee. It's kind of infused into my brand. So I have Coffee with Rob as my live show on LinkedIn as well as Facebook. So I love that tip. Thank you, Renee. The next tip is from my buddy Jonaed, who is from the East Coast, who does what's called Linksomnia, where he does live streams at the most oddest hours of the night. He gets so much engagement on it. Definitely a man to learn from. That's why I hit him up to get a tip from him for 2020. So Jonaed, your turn. Take it away.
Hey Rob, it's your friend Jonaed Iqbal, host of the No Degree podcast, and here's the tip I have for you guys for 2020. 2020 is going to be an important year, and I think it's more important than ever to build community. As social media platforms get more saturated, the people who stand apart will be the ones who build community. So figure out how to build that tribe, figure out how to build that loyal base, and you'll see that the people who succeed in 2020 are the ones that actually care about building community.
Thank you, Jonaed. That is a great tip. So as we come to the end of this video, I have saved one of my favorite LinkedIn creators, Mary Henderson, who I have followed and learned from a whole ton, especially with how she has used documents on LinkedIn to really change the game and get so much engagement. You're going to love this tip from her when it comes to personal branding and how it is going to transform in 2020. So Mary.
Hey Rob, it's Mary, your friend here from Melbourne, Australia. I think in 2020, we will actually be seeing more focus on reputation branding. We're way beyond personal branding. We're really entering into a phase, not just in corporate, but also in the entrepreneurial space, in truly understanding and packaging, showing up each and every day to really protect our most valuable asset, and that is our reputation. So I'm predicting that reputation branding is the new personal branding for 2020.
There you have it. Those are some of the best LinkedIn creators and experts, and I want you to meet all of them. So go in the description, find all the links to their profiles, send them a connection request, let them know that you saw them in this video. And if you haven't already, I would love for you to subscribe to this channel so that I can share with you more LinkedIn tips and strategies as I publish them. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye. If you haven't already, make sure you check out some of these other videos that I have created around LinkedIn, different tutorials, different strategies, things like that. So go check these videos out on this playlist.